Hello again. Once again, this is Matt. I'll be covering the Sandbox 1, ASA 2.0, particularly the little gotchas for getting the ASDM program working. I kind of laid it out in the last video, the path of setting up the ASDM program. First phase was just getting the image file onto this ASA right here. And that's a bit of a trick, right? Because then you would have to establish that network connection between the ASA and the GNS3 VM, which becomes central to the whole thing, right? GNS3 is going to be now handling the TFTP service for the ASA and really any topology that you roll out. So you only have to install the TFTP service one time. It's centrally located in GNS3, which also happens to manage and store all your images. It's very convenient to do it this way. So there's a couple of websites that actually really accomplish that I've vetted out that actually works very well. So if you want to save yourself some time, you might want to jot this down a little bit. The first thing we're going to talk about are the steps for the TFTP server. I'm going to try to put that in the description here. Addictivetips.com does a fantastic job just writing it out, because this is an example of great documentation. Writing out what it is you need to do, which is install a TFTP server for file sharing. Then they have a nice little YouTube setup to show you. So, I mean, if it's already done, just follow this direction here. That's pretty clean. You might have some issues, maybe because you might not be familiar with Linux. Maybe you downloaded the file in one place, but this video is showing it to you in another way. So you're just going to have to work through that. That's not anything I need to spend a lot of time on. Just be aware that that's actually a pretty good tutorial on getting the TFTP service running. So once you get the TFTP service running, now the second part of that is pulling in that file from the ASA. I like that method better than WinSCP, because when you launch in the ASA, they have a nifty little command that kind of steps you through the pulling of that file, right? So I'll show it to you briefly because it's easy to mimic. But then if that's too fast for you, I'll show you the website that you should go to take care of that. So if you're in the ASA and you've gotten this far, congratulations. I'm just going to say that over again. But then what you're going to want to type in is this command, copy TFTP flash. And it even prompts you for the IP address of the hosting TFTP server, which, as you know, is GNS3 VM, because they're on the same subnet, right? So then you would type it in. You know, I think in this case it would be 192.168.122.1. Then it just asks you for what the file is. And this is the kicker here, because it's got to be the ASDM version that you downloaded through your proper channel. You know, and again, I don't want to go over this again, but the idea is that you have access to the ASDM. You're just going to have to substitute for the exact file, obviously, than what the tutorial shows you. And then once you actually put in like for me, the ASDM version I was using is like 7122. So let me just go ahead and double check that real quick. I think I had just had it in the downloads. Yeah, ASDM 7122. So you would just type in the name of that file to look for. And that's a dash 7122.bin. And then it's going to say, hey, what do you want to name that file? Well, it should be the same. And then it already checked. It says there's already a file. Do you want to confirm? Yeah, I don't care. But then if you see the little exclamation marks, that means it's pulling something. That's a good thing. That's where you want to get at, because now everything else is going to be really cool. It's going to be a lot smoother from here. So let it finish its job. I'm going to pause the recording, let it finish downloading, and then we're going to talk about that cool little hack to get this JNLP file. Do you see that here? You got to get that file off the web page that is being serviced by the ASDM. And what we're going to do is kind of show you this last little gotcha about the ASDM, especially when you're setting it up in a sandbox. So, as mentioned previously, the Java runtime environment, there's like a little subset program for like something like a web start. That's blocked on new browsers, obviously for security reasons. So the problem is, if you were to go to the ASA right now, HTTP, and then we do 192.168.122.106, it should take you to the page. Let me see. Maybe not. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, that's 122.106. Maybe it's because I was using just HTTP. That's probably it, yeah. So notice how I was using the wrong port. It was just something silly, like I was just using the regular port 80, but it actually uses HTTPS. We're going to go ahead and hit advance. We know we're going to accept the risk and continue. It says install Java Web Start, but then it's going to bonk on you. It's not going to allow you to do it. It'll kind of block it. See, it just takes you this page, and that's not really what you want to do. So there's this really, really neat hack where what you got to do is open the web developer part of this, and I want to say the web developer tools, and then you're going to look at the source code, and I want to say, this is just off of memory, but let me look it up for a second. It was, you're looking for a particular, let me see, I think I have it. You're looking for JWS installed. So let's see if we can find it. JWS, yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to go look in here on this page, and it should take you to where it is located. It's just not giving a, let me just expand this out a little bit. It's not very helpful. It's not JWS installed. Maybe it's, oh, display. We're looking for a display. No. There we go. That's what we're looking for, is this little area right here. Notice how if it's not installed, display this button. So what we're going to do is actually edit this right here to inline. Boom. It's like magic, man. And then what you could do is, you know, run the ASDM, which then gives you this critical JNLP file. I was banging my head up against the wall. So all credit goes to this guy right here. He's a genius. Let me give him proper credit. His name was Adrian Situ, I think it was. He writes this really excellent page. It's kind of funny. He puts his little face up there, the thumbnail. I love that. But yeah, that's where I found it. I was beating my head up trying to find this JNLP file. It was in front of me the whole time. So this is a really sweet hack. So go ahead and do that. Save the file. And once you get that, you are set. Okay, you can now go wherever you downloaded this thing. And now you've got all the components pulled together, right? You have the ASDM being hosted on the ASA. you now have this ASDM JNLP, and assuming you've installed the Java runtime environment that allows you to launch this JNLP file, right? So what you're going to do is from this point, you're obviously going to make the ASDM.JNLP executable. So if you don't know about the chmod, you would just, let me list this again, you would just do chmod, and then you would execute ASDM.JNLP. Most people already know that if you do that, it turns green, which means it's executable. And then you would just do Java, WS, and then you would do the normal denotation to launch it. Uh-oh. My Java version's out of date. Let's just do that later. Okay, so this is a good sign. So now we're able to launch and get into the ASA, and that's really this entire sandbox. This completes this first sandbox, and I don't know, I think if I was to calculate all the time it took to just talk about, let's see, just to talk about this, realistically, I mean, you're talking about 3.5, 4 hours, but this sort of lays the groundwork, because what am I going to start doing later for the channel? Well, this is the beginning. This is pretty much everything. So the next stage we're going to probably do is maybe incorporate some Docker images that do some kind of pen testing. So maybe in the future channel, I'll build a simple topology, maybe put a vulnerability server on the inside of this ASA, so the next video will probably be me putting some vulnerability server like Metasploitable or something. But then we're going to be on the GNS3 VM launching a Docker version of Kali Linux. See how nice that is? Because now you've got the entire sandbox environment set up. Now it's just a matter of modularly taking out and adding things. So I think the next series is going to be talking about maybe doing pen testing, but we're really going to be talking about incorporating Docker images into GNS3 and being able to kind of change in and out aspects of the topology, right? So we're talking about changing aspects of this topology, adding Docker enhancements here, downloading a Docker Kali Linux, and then pen testing the crud out of whatever vulnerable servers on the inside of this ASA. That's probably the next series. So Sandbox number 2 will probably be a modification of pen testing with Kali Linux. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I wouldn't say brief, but I hope you guys enjoyed learning about sandboxing and the effectiveness it could give to you and to whoever wants to learn more. And it was great talking to you guys. Thanks for watching.